Hey everyone, my name is Alex Galbreath and I am the marketing manager here at Flying V Group Digital Marketing. We are a marketing agency based in Newport Beach, Orange County, California, and I wanted to jump on here today to explain a little bit about myself, about my role at Flying V Group, about Flying V Group as a marketing agency, and then also to jump into one of our most recent applications or projects surrounding AI and how we're leveraging AI for a specific use case relating to our clients, our services, and ultimately making our performance better. A little bit about myself. I'm actually originally from the Midwest, moved out to California to study at Chapman University, and that is where I met the CEO and co-founder, Rob Farian, along with his brother, Tyler Farian, who serves as the Chief Financial Officer. And yeah, that was a mutual connection that really sparked my relationship with Flying V Group. I was pushing hard, my junior year to get a summer internship. And I just remember being really aggressive and eventually getting that opportunity, which, evolved into working part-time throughout my junior year and then part-time throughout my senior year as a remote worker. And then eventually led to a full-time position with Flying V Group once I graduated in May of 2024. And so throughout the years, as a student, I saw ChatGPT come to a rise just even in my junior year of college, 2023. That's when it really started to explode. And I remember using it then, thinking it was the craziest thing in the world. And flash forward 2-3 years, it has now become one of the most talked about and hyped up. And, for good reason. It's incredibly powerful. And it's something that I'm super interested in. And as a marketing agency, we are super interested in just due to the different applications. And for those who aren't as familiar, at Flying V Group, we offer a full spectrum of marketing services. So that includes things like paid media buying, which will include your pay-per-click advertising, so things like Google Ads, and then also your meta advertising, your social media advertising as well. And then we offer search engine optimization, generative engine optimization, along with organic social media, content, creative, all that good stuff as well. But the use case I'm going to be talking about today is more so related to paid media and more specifically Google advertising. For those who are maybe not as familiar with Google advertising, it is a beast of a platform. You really got to, I would say, take classes. You got to learn it. You got to experiment. You got to fail, then you got to try again to really understand the platform and how it works. And not to mention that's changing every single day just based on what Google likes to roll out. So I'm going to jump into the presentation that I put together specifically for this. And it's going to walk through one of the most recent applications of AI that we used to help our PPC service department. And so that's what you'll see here is it's essentially a monitor or a dashboard system where it consolidates 16 of our largest client accounts. Those are prioritized based on spend and uses automation and AI to generate insights and eliminate the repetitive work that is traditionally done across all 16 of those accounts through our PPC specialists. So jumping into the first slide here to kind of explain the problem, and for those who are familiar with PPC, you probably understand a little bit of the pain that's involved with managing those accounts and trying to navigate the Google Ads dashboard and different functions to get certain things done or to diagnose certain issues. And so every week, someone has to do this process of logging into that ad account, pulling what they want to pull, right? Whether that's yesterday's numbers, last week's numbers, month over month, quarter over quarter, right? You're reviewing, you're checking for any anomalies, trying to see, okay, is this account healthy? Are all the metrics on an upward trend? Where can I improve? You're reporting on all of that data, and you're also reporting on the insights that you have on that data, and then you're repeating it. And you're doing that again and again for all of your client accounts. And when you get to a point where you're scaling, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing a lot of very repetitive tasks in order to repeat this process across all of them. And so, like I mentioned, what we built is a system that does a lot of this work automatically and uses AI to handle the parts that can't be templated. Now, the next slide is going to jump into some of the features of this dashboard. And this is not all the features, and I'm going to kind of walk through these in a very simplified way so that I can also show you a live demonstration of how each one works. So I'm going to jump into the daily performance on the top right. That's a single day view across all 16 of our accounts that compares 5 of the key metrics we report on to a 7 and a 14-day average to catch changes, right? We're trying to see what is happening on these accounts. Each day we're looking at how it performed over its baseline, over its average of a certain period of time. We're doing the same thing on a weekly basis. So we have a weekly roll-up, which aggregates performance by week and surfaces certain trends that are happening week over week that allow you to go in there and make certain decisions based on whether it's a good trend or a bad trend. We have alerts that are built into this dashboard. So, obviously you're going to be making changes to the ad accounts. You're going to see certain metrics swing up or down. And a lot of the time, yes, that's going to be the natural variation. But at the same time, you're also going to see that, when something moves just a little too much, you're going to want to know about that. And we consider that an alert or an anomaly, which just means something has fallen way outside of its baseline. Next is search terms. The way Google Ads works is it surfaces all the search terms which are triggered by the keywords you set for that campaign, and those search terms are what trigger your ads. And so a lot of the times you'll find that certain search terms which are completely irrelevant are triggering your ads and thus costing you money, which may be traffic that is not of high intent. And so we built a way to surface the high spend but low performance search terms across our accounts so that the team can go in and make actual changes much faster than trying to sort through rows manually or do exports out of Google Ads and filter it in a Google Sheet. We try to consolidate that entire process into a single place. Quality score tracking. This tracks quality score, which I'm not going to jump into too much. I don't think it's necessarily important, but another thing that our team looks at quite often and is very important to monitor on a daily basis. And then impression share, another one that our team tracks, and then the change tracker, like I mentioned earlier. A very small change can trigger a big impact on an account. So it's very important that when a big change is made, you timestamp it, and then you watch how it performs at the 7-day mark, at the 14-day mark, and then the 21-day mark to see, okay, was that change impactful? And was it a good change or a bad change? What else do I need to do to then make that change, what it should be? And so a couple more here. We have an AI chatbot. This is a chat interface built directly into the dashboard, and it knows the current state of all the accounts. So it's fed performance context automatically. It can fetch certain tools for Google Ads and for Claude, and it can give you specific information on very specific queries that you have about your accounts, where generally you'd have to go into that account and try to get to that point doing it yourself. And then last but not least, like I had mentioned, the last part of that process that can be a little bit grueling manually is the reporting. But we basically built a system where you can select any client account, pick your own date range, choose an output, and then you will get a full generated report based on your preference, whether that's raw data or something branded and ready to present to a client. Now, before I move any further, I'm actually going to jump into the dashboard to give you guys an idea of what this looks like and how our team is interacting with it. So as you can see, I walked through some of these, but you have your daily, your weekly, you have monthly performance, your change log tracker, your search impression share, your search terms, quality score, your reporting, and then the last but not least, we have an AI agent as well. But what you'll see here is the daily dashboard. And the way this works is you click into a certain account and you can see how that account performed yesterday versus a 14-day average. And you can also see how that account is pacing based on its daily budget or the recent changes made on that account and what's happening on all the campaigns within that account. And so it's super helpful for us to get a quick snapshot of how a campaign is doing without having to go into that specific account and poke around in Google Ads for 30 minutes to get the same answer that you could get here by just looking at it. Next is the weekly. Same concept. It's a rolling 7-day window versus the prior 7 days, refreshed daily. And so we have all 16 of our accounts in here as well. And you'll see it has blended account totals. It shows all those same 5 key metrics that we report on. And then it shows the campaigns that ran both weeks and it'll give you a comparison of how they performed. Next is your monthly view. This one's also very powerful. This is probably my favorite one, just as someone who is reporting on a monthly basis most often, is that it gives you a pretty strong analysis of how an account is doing on a monthly basis, right? You're going to see your spend, your conversions, but you're also going to see that over a wider time frame, which pulling those reports and trying to look at that data and then try to put in certain functions to understand which way did the data move month over month can be, again, another manual process. And what we've done here is we've consolidated all the account data so that we're just seeing this every single day on a rolling 30-day average, which gives us a really strong idea of how these campaigns are performing over a wider period of time, which gives us better insights into the trends of that campaign. Awesome. And then going back up here, we have a change log tracker. This will populate. I'm kind of in a demo mode right now, but this populates based on your change. So as you can see here, a major budget change. And you have certain changes that qualify to be tracked like this. Obviously, you don't want every little change being tracked, but there are certain levels of changes like budget, bidding, and status that you're going to want to track on day 7, 14, and 21. And then once it breaches that status, and I don't know why. Awesome. Sorry, I lost you guys for a little bit there on the bubble, but like I had mentioned, you're going to want to track certain changes. And on that 21-day mark, that's when Google Ads has enough data to actually understand the change. And so that's where we're pulling in context from Google Ads, but also looping in the AI to then reason through that change, the impact it had on the data, and then give you an output of whether or not that change was good or bad for your campaign. Competition and search terms, I'm going to jump through those. I would say the coolest part about this is that if I toggle this right here, I'm actually able to make it a change within the Google Ad account through this dashboard itself. I don't have to go in here, see it, go into Google Ads to make the change. I'm able to do all of it just through this little function down here. And then quality score, jump through that. The reports is pretty awesome as well. As you're going to see, you have a report generator, which generates either a branded report or raw CSV data. But you can toggle the metrics you want, the account you want. You can do certain time ranges, a custom range, pretty powerful stuff. And then last but not least, and the newest addition, is an AI agent that we built out. And this agent is basically able to go into all of our Google Ads data. And when you prompt it with a certain query, whether it's high level or granular, it'll do its best to go into that specific account. It'll look at that account. It'll look at the account's history, the changes made, every little thing about that account that can then reason through your prompt and provide you with a structured output. And the last but not least is you have your chatbot. Again, similar to the agent, but a little bit more friendly to use and a little bit less intensive. So I think for the quicker questions where you're just trying to get a quick answer to something, this is where our team's primarily using this PPC assistant chatbot to go in and pull quick numbers or to get certain insights that they can then communicate to our clients. So jumping back into the presentation here, going to jump through this slide. Already walked through that PDF report generator as well. Before and after. So this is an interesting one. And you are seeing people, especially now with, this OpenClaw and the fully deployable AI agent teams, starting to completely replace some of these functions like managing a Google Ad account and giving full autonomy to an agent to go in there and make the change itself. At Flying V Group, that is not where we think it's heading. We view AI and implementations like this dashboard as an operations layer. It's empowering our team to do more in less time, and it's replacing that manual effort with automated intelligence across all of our PPC accounts. So you have all these basic tasks like your daily account check, which manually is going to be at least an hour or two. That's now automated overnight every single day, and it's coming to you with the issues like the next point, anomaly detection. Someone has to notice that. You have to rely on your team to go into the account and to understand, okay, what's happening in this account? Where is it deviating from its baseline? What should I flag? What changes should I make? Now that report is being brought to you instead of you having to find it. It's flagging it automatically. It's based on a set of logic in which our team has built out just throughout time, which we've previously done manually. Client reporting, another function that was previously 30 minutes or more per account, is now done in 30 seconds. Traditionally the process would be go into Google Ads, find the certain metrics that you want, then you have to export to a raw CSV, and then you have to filter through those tables again, and then go into Google Sheets and probably manually copy and paste all your numbers. With AI now is like, yes, you can go to this dashboard and just generate a branded report. Or when you do have that raw CSV, we're leveraging tools like what this presentation is built on, like Gamma, so then you can just provide it, either raw data or an old presentation, and it'll automatically spin up a new presentation based on your prompting as well. So another really powerful place in which we're trying to automate, because reporting, again, is something very important, especially on the client end, that can be pretty, different based on the account, and we're trying to automate that process as well. Performance questions, previously, you're digging through the dashboards, trying to figure out what's wrong, trying to figure out why, but now you're asking a chatbot. And then the change impact analysis is, you make a change in the account and you're going off your gut, or you're looking at the numbers and you think it looks a certain way, but now the AI is actually tracking your change. It's looking at how that change is impacting the account every single 7 days up until 21 days, and then providing you with some actual answers surrounding your change, which can help guide future decisions as well. Awesome. So where AI is used in this, well, I could tell you it was used to build the entire thing, but it was also used to actually serve every single day when people are using it. And so the chatbot is using Claude Sonnet, and Claude has a bunch of different models with different uses, Sonnet being the one that I think is most powerful for a lot of those, very, I would say, structured tasks. So for a thing like a chatbot, it's fetching the Google Ads data mid-conversation, and then it's running that through the Claude Sonnet, and it's understanding, okay, what am I supposed to do with this data, right? What does this data mean? But then by the time you get the output, the AI knows. It knows what the data means. It's providing you with something that has context and awareness and reasoning, and not just raw numbers. The report narrative, again, this is using a different model of Claude, which is more so like feel and design and look oriented, which is Claude Haiku. And that generates our reports. It comes with the headline. It comes with custom branding. It makes those reports very readable and not just tabular. And then we have change narration also going through the Claude Haiku, where once enough post-change data exists, the AI compares before and after, and then writes that plain English explanation of whether or not that change worked and the impact that it ended up having on the account. Awesome. Now the tech stack. This was an interesting one. And upon building this myself, I learned a lot about these different technologies, how AI is used, and then how traditionally these types of dashboards would be built. A lot of this is built off the Google Ads API. And so those who are not familiar with APIs, it's an advanced programming interface, but it basically allows whatever you're using to send a data request through to Google. So for example, a Google Ads API is when a code sends a data request and then the Google Ads API responds instantly. So you set up the credentials, and instead of someone manually logging in, it can already see that every time, and it's almost going in there and pulling that data automatically. Python and Flask. Python is what all the code was built off of primarily, powers the pipeline, powers the server, powers the report builder, all the AI integrations, and then Flask runs the web server, handles authorizations, routing, and then serving the data through to the front end where our team is interacting with it. Anthropic Claude powers the chatbot, and then you can have the different models performing different functions like Sonnet, faster and smarter, whereas the Report Insights uses Haiku, which is cheaper and using more of the bulk generation requests. And those are also both accessed using, again, that API where it's calling on a tool like Claude for a specific function with structured prompts and live data. And then Report Lab, Matplot Library. Report Lab is building that PDF. It has the text, it has the colors. the library is generating the bar charts, and they're both running server side. So when someone does request that report, the PDF is fully built out before even reaching your browser. And when it's done generating, it'll just show up in your downloads tab. And then last but not least, probably one of the more crucial ones to have for a tool that's going to be used by more than one person is DigitalOcean. This is basically allowing you to run this so that anyone on your team can access it. It's cloud hosting 24/7. You get a reserved IP address, so the dashboard address stays in the same place. Your team can leave and go back to it, and anyone can access it from anywhere, which makes it, that's the value in it, is that our team is able to use it. Everyone's able to use it on an ongoing basis, and everyone gets the same tools equally. So another really important one there. Looks like there we go. File structure. So I kind of just walked through this, but obviously you're going to have your backend, which is your source code. Like I mentioned, it was completely built on Python, so that's what's running the daily pipeline. You have ads client files, which all your Google Ads API calls and live chat tools are built off of. Your alerts file. This is an anomaly detection logic. This is awesome. I think this is one of the most powerful pieces, is that you're kind of building the rules for this thing to run, right? It's only going to show you what you expected and what you command it to show you. And so that's where we built in this detection logic where, something that we would manually do, we can now just build into the system so that it could quite literally perform that exact same function, but more rapidly and faster than our team can. The change narrator, this is what's generating the summary on the AI impact. Obviously you have your data, but you need to be able to narrate that data and tell a story with it. And then the report generator, again, builds the branded PDF. And this is just 5 of the 20 different files that are in use. You have your configuration files, which are client accounts, the Google Ads IDs. The Google Ads API needs to know where to go, which client accounts. When you have a master account, you obviously have a bunch of sub accounts, which it's able to access, but you only want it accessing the ones that you give it to, right? You have your Google Ads API credentials, your Anthropic API keys, along with the login to your dashboard also in your environmental config. And then you have your dashboard, which is the front end. This is what's serving to the user. I used vanilla for this, but I'm going to be pivoting over. And that's the great part, is you can use tools to pivot over and make these continuously better. So the next iteration is going to be using React. And then you have your assets, right? We have our logo in there. So every time we generate a branded report, it has our logo in it. It has our colors in it. It's branded. It looks like every client report that we want to put out. And then you have your dependencies, which I don't think I need to jump into here. How it was built. So this did not start off as a dashboard idea. I actually initially just had an idea where I wanted to, as someone managing these accounts and generating a lot of the reports and then communicating with the client on what to report or on the feedback, right? I wanted to build a system that would eventually, just give me a simple Slack output every morning with, here's how the account's doing, right? Something as simple as that. And when I started to build it, I realized all that was possible. And this was 100%, dependent on using Claude Code, which is Anthropic's AI coding tool that works directly inside your project files. So Claude Code can read the existing code base, understand how everything connects, and then it can make changes to your code across multiple files at once. It's incredibly powerful. You are prompting it like you would, just your regular ChatGPT chat, except it's building, right? You give an idea, and instead of it just returning a text output, it's going and performing actions within your code to actually generate something and to build something. So that's really how it came to be, is a ton of iteration. It started off, as a simple Slack output. And I was like, okay, well, how can we make it more robust? How can we add more features? Eventually, if I try to fit all this into a Slack output, it gets a little bit too long. And that's where I came up with the idea of a dashboard, something that's constantly refreshed and a go-to for our team to use on a consistent basis, to either, look at the ad accounts, generate reports, ask certain questions, try to understand changes, try to understand why an account is performing in a certain way. And I think the result is now, it took just a couple of weeks to build something that, without the use of AI would have taken a traditional developer team probably a really long time, right? It's tons of lines of code, and it's tons of logic built in different pieces and moving parts, and also having the understanding of Google Ads in order to build something like this. Awesome. And so, yeah, a quick outro slide. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this was of value and taught you something, or maybe another use case, or sparked an idea of how you can leverage AI, or maybe start to tap into things like Claude Code. I feel like I was just facing every single day upon looking at social media an increasing pressure to learn these tools or to jump on Claude Code and start building something. And so, I kind of just put my head down and started, right? And one idea snowballs into something much bigger, and it's a ton of fun to learn in the process. And so if you ever want to talk or learn more about my project, or just how I'm learning and approaching AI, or how I think AI could be used within a marketing context, I would love to talk to you guys. I have our info@flyingvgroup.com email listed here. Feel free to shoot over anything in there. Most of our team gets those inquiries. And then also my LinkedIn's just Alex Galbreath, AlexGalbreath. Super responsive on there if you want to connect with me. I would love to, connect with anyone, talk with anyone, explore what other people are building with AI, and to also just, share some of the insights that I have and some of the use cases that I think are going to be super, super cool to build. So thank you all for listening. Really appreciate it. Feel free to connect with us again through that email. Jump on the website, submit a form. We all have visibility into those, so I'll be able to see you guys. But yeah, really appreciate your time, and I hope everyone found this pretty cool. Thank you.